You brought firewood?
Yes.
Good job. I'm going to chop some firewood now. I don't know if this will be helpful to anybody, but got a big piece of a log here that I had a friend helping me the other day, and he tried to chop it up and tried to split it, but he helped me chop some firewood. Didn't work out for him. He didn't know exactly what to do. He was just hacking at it. Let me see if I can show you guys what you do. First, I have to get it on my chopping stump, which happens to be smaller than it is. I might just have to muscle it up. Okay.
Yeah, you took
Slippery.
it.
A bit icy today.
Yeah.
I just did a little mold for myself.
Oh!
I can try to chop it, but chopping's not going to get very far when you have a log this big. I mean, most of the time it might even bounce off. Oh, of course they can, but often it'll bounce off, depending on how cold it is when you're chopping. This is sinking in real nice. One of the things you can do is, oh, we got a nice crack. We got a piece that'll come out. And that is very fortunate for a stump this big, because that does not often happen. Usually I have to use some wedges, have to drive them in. I might have to cut the bark. The bark is going to be thick. Sometimes if I can lay it over on its side, I will chop also along the side, and sometimes that does it. My glut that I made out of dry wood that I was using today, not held up very well. Normally, you go along the line that you're chopping with the axe, but there's a nice chunk that's about ready to come out here, so. Hop. Deal with that piece later.
That's a good crack.
Let's see if it'll go the other way. Okay, so we're actually getting somewhere. I tried to drive the axe in a little bit, and then I just pulled the axe out, and that left enough space to start the wedge. And so it should almost be there. This maul is not really long enough. It should be longer. But let me put the camera down and try it. Okay. Well, I drove the wedge in basically almost that far. It might have been up a tiny bit. It was a little bit below the surface. And then I figured it looked like it was just barely holding on. So I pulled it apart with my hands, and it just came apart really more of its own weight than from my effort. Now we just have to divide it up to smaller pieces. It's amazing. Sometimes birchwood is a really beautiful brown. It's actually a little bit darker than it seems to be coming across on the camera, but beautiful brown color. Light brown, obviously. Hello, Fluffiness twins. We have the short-haired and the long-haired version. Brother and sister. Okay, so these two pieces are from that same big stump that I just chopped up. And they're just from different parts of it. So it's amazing how that same birch stump has light parts and darker parts, light brown parts. You would have almost thought that these were from two different pieces of wood, but they're not. From two different trees? Nope. They're from one tree. So yesterday I was chopping some wood and showed you about chopping a big log. I forgot to mention a couple things, so I wanted to add this on before I put the video out. So to summarize, let's summarize real quick. If you've got a really big piece of wood, a really big log that you're trying to chop, a big round, you're going to want to, you can start off, you get it up where you want to chop it, if you want to put it on something to chop, which is normally easier. You start off by chopping a little bit, seeing what it's like. Sometimes it does crack immediately. You try on the top. If you can, you might try on the side. You also might try making sure the bark is broken all the way down. Birch bark, by the way, is great. You can take it off if it's coming off your wood, your birch wood that you're using for firewood. Birch bark is great for starting fires too, because you can get birch bark to light, normally even if it's wet. It'll still light decently and it'll burn pretty decently. So good for starting fires. Also, you might want to turn it over and chop on the bottom. And so you might want to go at it from basically all angles, from all sides, per se. And basically, if it's not chopping by itself, if it's not splitting, you're going to want to use a wedge of some sort. And so you need to get a crack big enough that you can put a wedge in. And so if it already has a crack because it's been out seasoning for a little bit and it's already got a crack big enough, great. Use the biggest crack and go for it. But if not, like yesterday, there wasn't another crack big enough for me to get the wedge in. I had to try to sink I could get the axe to stick in, and then I tried to sink the axe in a little bit, but then I could pull out the axe, and there was enough there still. The crack was big enough still for me to start the wedge, because I don't have sharp wedges. If you have wedges that are sharp, then you can probably just start off for the beginning. But other than that, if your wedge is not like sharp, then you're going to need, obviously, some kind of crack to start the wedge. We have a nice, clear morning. It's about -8 degrees Celsius or 17 degrees Fahrenheit, 17.5, something like that. It will warm up today. It should get above freezing. And I'll be able to get some good things done. Hello, Timmy. Hello, Missy. Stay inside. Stay inside. Hello. So this is an old dog that we got from somebody who moved, and they had gotten the dog from the previous owners of their house. And so we don't know how old he is. But he does good with the kids now, and so we unchained him. He was on a chain by his little doghouse that we got with him. But he does good, and so now we're giving him a nice retirement. And Missy thinks that he should play with her, but he doesn't normally want to.